Football is back. What a welcome sight as the 2020 New England Patriots hit the practice field under watchful eyes of the coaching staff for the first time this year. Training camp today begins now. Welcome on into Training Camp Today, brought to you by Gillette. I'm Megan O'Brien. Well, Patriots fans, I have some good news for you. Football is finally back. After the longest offseason that any of us have endured due to the COVID-19 pandemic, football's here at Gillette Stadium. Now, of course, there were some hurdles that had to be overcome for us to get to this point, but the players were out on the practice field, and it was good to see. Today also marked the start of Phase 2 of the offseason program. Now, typically we see this happen in the spring months, but due to the circumstances of the 2020 season, we're seeing it take place right now. The players were out on the field, shorts, t-shirts, shells, and doing a lot of individual work. It seems like it's still the teaching portion of camp, but nonetheless, the players are out there improving. And although the players have only been at the facility for just over a week, it certainly didn't look like their first practice of the season. They moved through each station, each rotation in a timely manner. Practice was efficient and productive. We now welcome on a socially distanced Paul Perillo from Patriots.com. Paul, football is back, and obviously a lot of Patriots fans have been wondering about the quarterback competition this season. What stood out to you about the four quarterbacks?
Yeah, well, to me, distance or not, it was just good to be back and watching some Patriots practices. It's been a long time since we got a chance to see anybody. When we saw the quarterbacks for the first time, we saw Cam Newton in a Patriots uniform going through the paces. First impression of him, just wow, he's an imposing guy. But also interesting to see all of the guys, like Brian Hoyer, Jarrett Stidham, Brian Lewerke, all getting reps, all moving in and out of drills. Very efficient, as you said in the open.
Now, a lot of individual work we saw taking place from the quarterbacks, but also the wide receiver group. N'Keal Harry, a guy that a lot of people are expecting to make a second-year jump. What stood out to you about the wide receivers?
Yeah, he looked to me to be a little bit thinner, Harry I'm talking about. I don't know if he lost any weight. We'll have to check, maybe see what the updated numbers are, but I just thought he looked like he was in a little bit better condition. I thought he looked a little bit more comfortable. We remember last summer he dealt with a lot of injuries, so hopefully all of that is behind him and we can get a good offseason for him and move right into the regular season.
Now, another guy who dealt with not injuries, but something that kept him off the field, David Andrews. He missed all of last season with blood clots on his lungs. But this year, he's back, and we saw him walking up the stairs. Good to see a captain in David Andrews back out this season, especially when the offensive line has been hurt with some opt-outs.
Yeah, and I think that you bring up a very interesting part of this. First of all, the best sign of the day to me is David Andrews' mere presence on the field. But you talked about a captain. I think his leadership was missed last year. Yes, he's a very good center, and on the field, they missed his presence. But I think in the locker room, they missed it as well. Good to see him back.
Paul, thank you for joining us on Training Camp today. After practice, Patriots players met the media, and Rex Burkhead spoke on the impact that Troy Brown has had on the running back group.
Yeah, Troy's been great to work with. Just his understanding of the game. Of course, he played, many years here, so he's familiar with the system, how things are run here. And, I think the biggest thing is just technique-wise and route running. Certain things maybe I've never seen before, looked at it that way. Just because, I've played running back, and so he sees it from a wide receiver lens. And so it kind of translated over to some of our routes and how we run them. And so he's been great with that, and just teaching me, James, and all the other backs certain ways to get to positions out there and really how to use our techniques.
That's all the time we have from Training Camp today. Be sure to head on over to Patriots.com to catch up on all of your coverage from today's practice. We'll see you next time.